Hello there, Sully here, the Retired Tanker Yanker. Welcome to Transitions, my YouTube channel. Hey, if you're watching it and you're not a subscriber, why not? Please subscribe and be sure to like and share these videos. This is episode 4 of my series, So You Want to Be a Truck Driver. And today I'm going to talk about things that you're going to experience, especially in your first year of driving. Now, you probably discovered that you're not getting the big bucks yet. And the first few months that you're out there driving, you're probably reassessing the decision that you made to become a truck driver in the first place. So if you want my advice, I'll keep it as simple as I can. Stick to it. I mean, think about it. Remember back in grade school when the teacher caught you looking out the window and said, "You'll never make any money staring out of a window all day long"? Guess you won that round, driver. You're seeing things that you probably never thought you would get to see in your lifetime. So enjoy the scenery. I mean, eventually it's going to become old hat, but it's new and exciting when you start out. And I'll never forget the first time I was rolling into Missouri and I saw that great arch in St. Louis. That's something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, and yet here it is. I've seen it countless times since then, but it's still a sight to behold. And you will see things out there that you will have the same exact feeling about. So enjoy what you're going through right now. Enjoy the change of season. Say you live in a part of the country where you don't have a colorful autumn, and you're going to New England or to Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, New Jersey, places where autumn is full of beautiful colors. Go with it. Or say you're from the upper Midwest, when for 8 months out of the year you're dealing with snow up to your behind, and you're running somewhere in the desert Southwest. Call your friends up and brag. Say, "Hey, look, while you're back there shoveling 18 feet of snow, I'm running in my truck with the air conditioner on." And suppose that you're running, say, into the province of Alberta and seeing the Canadian Rockies for the first time. It's likely to see them right after the first snow, because that's when I experienced the Canadian Rockies. Or maybe you've never even been to the Rocky Mountain states and you're traveling through them for the first time. Enjoy the grandeur, enjoy the beauty. Maybe you're visiting the Pacific Northwest for the first time in your life. Experience the weather. And if you don't like it, wait 10 minutes. It'll change. Now I'm going to sidetrack a little at this point, because in your travels, you're going to run into a very, very strange situation. It'll look like you're going downhill. That's what it will appear to you. But actually the truck is lugging and slowing down because you're actually going upgrade. This is a phenomenon that we have, especially here in Pennsylvania, but it's found in other places too. And it's called the gravity hill. It blew my mind the first time I experienced it. And it's nothing more than an optical illusion that you get by driving on a road that's built up in an area. They had to build up a road bed and berms, and it's nothing more than an optical illusion. But it does happen a lot here in Pennsylvania, especially. Now right here, I'm going to give a shout out to Simon Dan. For those of you who aren't familiar with him, he debunks flat earthers and conspiracy theorists. And I was watching one of his videos this past week where a fella claimed that mountains lie in trenches or ditches or valleys, and you don't really see them. And he was traveling on I-80 in Pennsylvania, and he said, "Boy, it looks like we're going downhill here, but we're slowing down, we're going up a hill." Well, he was on a gravity hill, and this guy apparently never experienced a gravity hill before and didn't know how or what was going on. So his conclusion was that the mountains all lie in trenches or ditches or valleys. And it hit home, and it's a simple explanation. If the man had just bothered to go online and look up gravity hills, he would have got a perfectly good explanation. But anyway, Simon Dan has a great channel, and I really like his stuff, so maybe you should consider subscribing to his channel and checking out some of his videos, because he really takes the flat earthers and the conspiracy theorists to task, and he counters them with logic and science. Another thing that you're experiencing is something that's come up in the past maybe 15 or so years, and that is where you're going to park for the night. There's a lot of places out there that just don't allow trucks to park. And especially with the hours of service regulations the way they are right now, and the electronic logging devices, or ELDs, or other electronic onboard recording devices, whatever system you're using, you are really between a rock and a hard place when it comes to parking your truck. Truck stops just do not have enough parking, and rest areas aren't always a safe option, and there's lots of guys that just want to stay at the customer when they're empty and the customer doesn't allow it. You might even be out of hours and not permitted by law to drive, and yet the customer says, hey, vamoose. And there just is not enough flexibility with the hours of service regulations. You're learning to cope with that. I do plan on sounding off on this issue shortly, but for the time being, let's just go with it is what it is. And you're just going to have to learn to adapt to that, driver. You really have to understand that it is a problem, and unfortunately it's not being addressed properly. Okay, you're also going to learn a lot about your people skills, because you'll be interacting with people who are probably different than anybody you've interacted with before. Your primary reason for existence is to haul freight, and that also involves dealing with the public, dealing with your customer employees, dealing with the general public, dealing with other drivers. You're meeting up with people that are totally different from what you're used to dealing with. Now, here's the thing about customers. You'll go to a customer, and each and every customer has their own way of doing things, but they seem to be of the opinion that A, their way is the only way, B, their way is the right way. You know, and when you go to a customer and say, well, this customer did it differently, this customer did it this way. Well, why do they do it that way? We do it this way because it works for us. Well, that's what it is. It works for them. What works for one customer won't necessarily work for the other customer. This is something you have to adapt to. You have to learn to be flexible. You have to learn to just go with it. Now, one of the biggest issues that you're going to be dealing with when you arrive at a consignee is unloading. Now, most places where you pick up do the loading. It's very rare that a driver actually has to load his or her own truck. One of the big exceptions is the tank industry. I've had to load my tanker. But, you know, that's fairly simple. You just, you know, say, well, this is my first time doing it here. Show me what you do here. A lot of places you do have to be present, and if you're loading in a place that has an overhead rack and requires you up on the rack, you know, they have certain safety rules. But there are a few places where I had to load where I handled the loading. Now, in the tank industry, fortunately, it's mostly automated. You push a few buttons, you open a few valves, you stand back and let Sir Isaac Newton handle the loading. But it's a lot of safety regulations that you're dealing with, and that can be anywhere you deliver. I mean, you might go to a place, and I see this phenomenon a lot anymore, where I see guys showing up at places wearing short pants and sandals and the place says long pants, long sleeve shirts required, steel toe boots required, and these people are walking into a place, to a warehouse that has forklifts running around, it has heavy equipment running around, and they're almost barefoot. And I have actually seen drivers get kicked out of places because they are not wearing the proper footwear. So maybe you want to wear comfortable footwear while you're driving, but when you get to a customer, make sure you are wearing proper footwear. A lot of places don't mind if you're wearing shorts, but a lot of places insist you must be wearing long pants. In the chemical industry, I had to wear long sleeve shirts most places. I also had to wear a hard hat, eye protection, gloves. A lot of places require this, so be ready for it. High visibility vests, that's required in a lot of places. So these are the things you're going to have to get used to, how different customers handle different situations. But suppose you're going to be going delivered to, say, a grocery warehouse. Well, that absolutely is a driver unload. There isn't a grocery warehouse out there that unloads the truck for you. You're expected to do it. Now, you've been driving all day and you're really tired, and now you got to sit there and start throwing freight from the back of your truck. What are you going to do about it? Well, just about every place that a driver delivers to where it's driver unload has a lumper service. What's a lumper? A lumper is somebody you pay to unload your truck. Now, if you are required to unload your own truck, your company really should be paying you for it. There are very few customers that I have dealt with who wouldn't pay for the lumper. And the company is just flat out, well, we're not getting paid for it, but you have to do it, and we will pay you for it. They'll find a better way to pass the cost on. But there still are a few shippers out there that for some reason they're absolutely opposed to lumpers. They think that the driver really doesn't do anything that is terribly strenuous, and what's wrong with unloading the truck. But the fact of the matter is it can be pretty physically demanding, especially if you're unloading a floor load and you have to box everything up. And again, we're in a situation where every place does things differently. They want the products stacked on pallets in a particular way. So these places will have a lumper service on site. And normally it is either the shipper or the broker that pay for the lumper. In some cases, your company will foot the cost for a lumper, and they'll find a way to pass that cost on to the shipper. But be prepared when you hear some of the outrageous prices that these lumper services charge. Take comfort in the fact that you're not paying it out of your pocket. And if you hire a lumper to unload your truck, you're still responsible for piece count, damages, but the lumper takes care of the count and gives you a chance. And if there's a dispute, you do have the opportunity to review it. And it does create a paper trail, because generally lumper services are paid through like a com check, and there's usually a receipt involved. In some cases, there's even just a voucher given that the lumper service can cash in. But you can go into the sleeper while your truck's being unloaded, or at least go off duty. Now remember that time you spend in the sleeper or spend off duty while your truck is being unloaded by a paid lumper service, that still counts towards your 14. But what it doesn't do is eat up your driving time. Now, again, I'm going to get into the hours of service at some point, and I'm going to suggest that shouldn't count towards your 14. If you're paying somebody to unload the truck and you're in the sleeper or in the break room, that really shouldn't have to count, but that's for another video. So you're picking up a trailer and you have no way of knowing if the count on the bill of lading is correct or if the goods are in good condition. But you are financially responsible for that load. So how do you protect yourself? Be sure if you're picking up a sealed trailer, when you sign the bills, put S, L, and C on the bills underneath your signature. That stands for shipper, load, and count. Now, if you're picking up a trailer and you have to sign for a piece count and you did not have the opportunity to physically count the freight as it went on, you mark next to the piece count STC, which means you're accepting their word that this count is accurate, but that actual number is said to contain so many pieces, and it's also subject to count. That's what STC means. It means said to contain or subject to count. You're responsible for shortages and damages, driver, so cover your butt. You'll save yourself a world of hurt simply by remembering these things. There's another thing that you'll discover on the road. Certain fallen women who work the rest areas at truck stops. And we call these women lot lizards. So what is a lot lizard? A lot lizard is basically a prostitute who specializes in doing business with truckers. And they can be a real pain because, remember, you're carrying your bedroom with you wherever you go. That's in the sleeper in the back of the truck. So they see it as a place to do business and make money, and basically that's what they're out to do, part you from your money. Now, understand that I really don't have anything against the world's oldest profession. You know, if we lived in a perfect world, there would be no need for it, but, you know, whatever drives a woman to do this. The trouble is, they'll bang on your door while you're sleeping and wake you up. Hi, honey, want some company? You know, it gets to be a real pain, and in certain areas where it does get to be a pain, the police have cracked down. The Vince Lombardi Service Plaza on the New Jersey Turnpike used to be crawling, and I mean crawling, with lot lizards. And I didn't know how anybody could get a decent night's sleep there. But when they redid the Service Plaza, they cleaned that place out, and they have a police presence there, and you're not bothered by lot lizards there anymore. Now, you might say, well, what about if I'm in Nevada, where prostitution is legal? Well, prostitution is legal in some parts of Nevada. It's county by county, and it has to be voted on by the local population. Now, also in Nevada, prostitution is only permitted in licensed brothels. So a streetwalker or a lot lizard, somebody advertising on Craigslist, that's illegal. And prostitution is legal in Rhode Island, but brothels aren't. So apparently it's not illegal to engage a prostitute in Rhode Island as long as it's not inside a brothel. However, you're in a commercial vehicle. You're subject to other laws. And there is a federal law saying unauthorized persons are not permitted on your truck. And if you are engaging in sexual relations in return for money, well, that's called solicitation for purposes of prostitution. Your truck can actually be impounded by the local police. And it's also a violation of your company's policy. I don't know a company that has a policy that allows you to bring a lot lizard onto your truck. So if you really have to go for it, and you happen to be in Nevada, you happen to be in a county where brothels are permitted, a lot of them do have truck parking. But all I'm going to say about that is use your common sense. You don't want to lose your job because of a momentary lapse of judgment. And you also don't want to bring home a social disease to your significant other. And that's a real problem out there. Prostitution is not unique to women out there. There are male prostitutes who specialize in truck drivers, and there's actual men out there. And I'm not saying that these men are necessarily gay or bisexual, but they just have a thing for truck drivers. And I don't want to slight the LGBTQ community because, quite frankly, I have no reason to. I really don't care what two consenting adults do in private. But what I do care about is getting the job done with as little interference as possible. And a lot of times you'll go to a rest area and you'll get these good buddies knocking on your door or trying to call you on the CB radio. And yeah, we call them good buddies. That's a throwback to 70s CB slang. And, you know, like I said, they don't bother me until they bother me. And it's not what they do that bothers me because, like I said, I don't care. What bothers me is when they get in your face and start banging on your door, or you'll pull into a rest area and they'll pull up alongside you and start flashing their lights. I'm not telling you what to do, you're an adult, but again, use common sense. You're also going to run into con men out there. They love working the truck stops, con men. One of the more common cons that's pulled is 3-card money. Some guy's going to run up to you flashing a lot of cash and say, "Hey driver, look, I just won all this money. There's a guy over there, he's running a card game. You can go over there and I made a couple $1,000 here." And it's like he's giving the money away. He said, "Come on, I'll take you over to see him." And you see a guy and he's running a 3-card money game. And you throw some money down and you win a few bucks. He lets you win a few times. And then before you know it, you've lost every cent you had. Those two guys are working together. And it's a setup, it's a con, they cheat, and it's flat out illegal. So avoid that scam. Another con that they pull, they do this a lot in New Jersey, northern Jersey especially, is the low bridge con, where somebody will grab you and say, "Hey, I have the contract to escort drivers around this area because there's low bridges." And before you know it, this guy's on the truck and he's giving you a pitch about how you pay me in cash, I give you a receipt, you take it to the toll booth of the turnpike, and they reimburse you. The one time the guy tried to pull it on me, he says, "Well, I don't have any cash, I got to give you a com check." All I saw was his ass and his elbows running away from me because he knew that I knew what was up. So if you encounter somebody telling you that he's showing you around the low bridges, call 911. The cops are out to get those guys, and they do round them up from time to time. So just call 911 and disappear in a hurry. Okay, another type of person you're going to find with this is not necessarily a con man. This is another truck driver. He's going to give you a hard luck story, saying how he's run out of money on the road, he's selling things, and you know, these are guys we call empty pockets. That's a call you got to make on your own. I'll never forget the time I was at the Flying J in Northeast Maryland, and I just fueled and I was going in to maybe grab a bite to eat and a cup of coffee, and this guy's got a power drill. And he says, "I'll make a good deal on it." And I said, "I don't need it." He said, "But I'll make a good deal on it." I said, "What part of I don't need it don't you understand? I already have a power drill that I don't use. Why should I buy another one?" "Because I'll make a good deal on it." That's how desperate the guy is. He wasn't listening. All he heard was me saying no, and that pissed him off. I had a guy try to sell me load bars one time. I said, "Fine, you come out to my trailer, show me how to put them on, and I'll buy them from you. He said, hey, driver, that'll be easy. I said, you really think so? And I took him out, showed him the tanker, and said, show me how to put them on. He said, you didn't tell me it was a tanker. I said, yeah, but I did tell you I didn't need them. Now you know why I don't need them. So, again, that's a call you have to make. If somebody's selling something, just remember there'll be some guy out there who says, hey, I got something, and brings out a box. Now, back in the day, it was VCRs. And for those of you who are a little bit younger and don't know what a VCR is, that stands for video cassette recorder. We didn't have apps or flash drives or on-demand TV service. If you wanted to watch something, you had to get this big machine and actually stick a tape in there and play the tape. Yeah, what an antique thing. Who'd you buy this from? Fred Flintstone? So, a lot of times they used to be guys in truck stops selling what looked like a sealed box, and say, yeah, it's got a VCR in it. It's still in the box, hasn't even been opened. And I'll sell it to you for an outrageously low price. So you buy it, you take it, you open the box up, and all that's in it is a brick and some newspaper. And that has happened to people, and I've encountered a few people that it happened to, and they feel kind of embarrassed. Desperate guys will do things like sell their CB radios, or if they have a TV on the truck, they'll sell it. Learn how to manage your money on the road. Now, since I was touching on Nevada and prostitution earlier, there's another thing that it used to be unique to Nevada, and then Atlantic City, New Jersey, and now just about everywhere in the country you will find casinos. You got some downtime, and a lot of casinos have truck parking. The biggest casino in Pennsylvania is right up the road from me, Parks Casino in Bensalem, and they have a huge area in their parking lot which is for nothing but trucks. And the reason is, as a truck driver, your money is as good as anybody's. So, all I'm saying is, I'm not telling you how to behave, you're an adult. What I'm telling you is, just have a better opinion of your money. Okay? If you got $20 and nothing to do with it, you want to run into a slot machine, fine. You know, I got a better idea. Send that $20 to me. Every truck stop sells lottery tickets. They sell the scratch-offs, they sell the Powerball or the Mega Ball, Mega Millions, whatever they call that, the state lottery numbers games. The lottery is the biggest scam out there. It is nothing more than a system to levy a tax on the willing. Everybody says, well, you know, you gotta play to win. I got a lottery going on. And like the state lotteries, the prize pool is 1/2 of the take. I call this Sully the Retired Tanker Yankers lottery. It's real simple. But I have a guarantee that if you don't win, I'll give you all your money back. Okay? Give me $20. Pick a number between 1 and 3. Hey, you won! Here's your prize pool, 50%, $10. Oh, I want my money back. No, that's, you won. You had to lose to get your 20 back, but you won, so you win the prize pool, 10. I've tried to pull that on a few people, and but that's basically what the lottery is. Even if you win, you don't win, because you only get half the money. The states take, whatever state you're in, or this national lottery is 50% of the prize pool. And your odds of winning, well, your odds of getting struck by lightning are better than hitting a big prize in the lottery. And no matter where you are in this country, you're no more than 3 hours drive from a casino. Just use your common sense and have a better opinion of your money. Because you're going to need your money. Because you have to eat on the road. Now, back in the day, truck stops generally had the best food. That was the place where you went to eat. People who weren't truck drivers would drive miles and miles and miles to go to a truck stop to eat. Why? Because they had the best food. But something has happened. Chain truck stops, or as I like to call them, Mick truck stops. Yeah, they have food in there, packaged food that you stick in a microwave, hot dogs. I will give kudos to Pilot and Flying J because now they have a hot food bar in there, and from what I understand, the food is pretty good. But these places also have fast food restaurants. And even if you're going into a place with a sit-down restaurant, generally it's Denny's or Huddle House or something like that. And the truth be told, it's very, very, very hard to find a truck stop that has a decent sit-down restaurant that doesn't use a commissary system. Every now and then you'll go and find a truck stop, particularly in the Petro chain, that has a decent restaurant. You know, a lot of buffets. They've even done away with buffets at truck stops, which used to be a place where drivers used to go and fill up. So consider getting if your truck doesn't have a power inverter, and consider investing in a good one and getting a microwave oven and a small cooler. You know, one of those Igloo electric coolers will be fine, or maybe even a mini fridge. That would save you some money, but count on food costing you about $200 a week on the road. Okay, unless you can be extremely frugal. Count on spending about $200 a week on food. Now, you're going to have some downtime. You want to entertain yourself. Get a TV. Most trucks, and they've been doing this for at least 20 years on trucks, they have a built-in TV antenna, and you know, more recent years, these built-in TV antenna are high-def capable. Or get a TV with Roku, because just about every truck stop has a Wi-Fi, and you know, it's a fee, but you know, it's sort of like if you spend enough time on the road and you spend enough downtime, it can be worth it. Maybe you have a modem or your laptop, or like I said, get a TV with Roku or something like that, and you'll be able to watch premium channels, or just watch the local TV out there. I consider getting a TV to be priority if you have a lot of downtime, and especially during your 10-hour break. You're not going to necessarily spend all that time sleeping. Yeah, you're going to want to jump in to the truck stop and grab a shower, grab a meal, but sleep when you can. And I don't know about you, but I have a hard time falling asleep if the TV isn't on. So it could be a service. It could also be a hindrance, because somebody who wants to bother you sees the TV on. Oh, he must be awake. He won't mind me knocking on the door. Hey, driver, you want to buy a gallon of oil? And he might actually be asleep. But, you know, as you go through this first year and you start getting more and more used to it, you'll find out that it's not so bad out there. And the money will come. Just stick to it. I mean, you will feel discouraged. You will be reevaluating your decision a lot in this first year. Stick with it. Just remember what Ernest Hemingway said. We are broken by life, but we become stronger in those broken places. So, thanks for viewing. Episode 5 should be up shortly, maybe in a week or so. And now that I have a little bit more reliable transportation, I probably will be heading out to some truck stops to interview drivers. If you see me out there, particularly the Petro in Bordentown, or the TA in Paulsboro, or the Flying J down in Carneys Point, look for me there, and if you see me, I'll give you one of my cards and I'll ask questions, see if you want to be interviewed. But just, I want to wish you all out there safe and happy travels. I do have a Facebook group page for Sully the Retired Tanker Yanker, and you can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SullyTanker. And again, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. If you haven't subscribed already, like and share these videos, and feel free to comment. For Transitions, this is Sully, the Retired Tanker Yanker. Wishing you safe and happy travels.